What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. Super fun one today. I know I'm biased, but we're going over Florida versus Tennessee. Regardless of everyone's opinions, there is a scoreboard, all right? So we're going to compare the two and why Tennessee might be a better fit for you. So first things first, a little bit of background about myself. I actually used to live in Florida. I spent a large part of my childhood living in Southwest Florida near the Sarasota, Fort Myers area. And then I went to high school in Miami. The reason why I'm making this video today specifically is because recently I've been working with so many clients who are moving from Florida. Actually, my grandmother just moved to Tennessee from Florida. So it seems like there's a lot of people moving from Florida to get, well, there's a lot of reasons why people are moving from Florida to Tennessee, and we're gonna get into that right now. So the number one reason why people are telling me that they're moving from Florida to Tennessee is Florida's just getting way too crowded. Now, as a state, Florida is about 1.3 times bigger than Tennessee, but it has about 3 times the amount of people living here. The population is 3 times larger than Tennessee. So right now, the population in Florida is around 22 million, while in Tennessee it is 7 million. Now, if you look on a map, there is just much more livable space in Florida than Tennessee, with the exception of the Everglades. So what they've done is they put a lot of major metro areas in Florida. If you compared Florida and Tennessee apples to apples, there's just way more major cities in Florida. For example, some of the major cities in Florida include Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Destin. These are all huge metro areas in the state of Florida. In Tennessee, we really only have a few cities. That's Memphis, which a lot of people, when they're moving to Tennessee, sometimes they don't think of Memphis, but we have Memphis, and it's kind of just separated from everything, from all the other major cities. Anyway, I digress, but we have Memphis, we have Nashville, Chattanooga, Knoxville, and maybe the Tri-Cities. You could consider the Tri-Cities, which is actually made up of 3 cities in one, major metro area. And each of these cities are a lot smaller than the major cities in Florida as well. So for example, in Jacksonville, that's the largest city in Florida, it houses 1.7 million people, where in Nashville's the biggest city here in Tennessee, it houses just 1.3 million people. Tennessee in general is just a little bit more spread out. You have Memphis all the way to the west where it's flat. Then you drive a few hours, then you are in Nashville. Then you drive a few more hours east, then you are in Chattanooga. Then a couple more hours east is Knoxville, and then even a couple more hours east is the Tri-Cities area. And in between all of that is either just space and country or mountains. In Florida, they kind of just pack everything together and it's just flat. At least in these major city areas as well, you have outdoors, you have beautiful mountains, you have things to do outside. And guys, if you are in Florida or anywhere in the US or the world who are looking to move to Tennessee, I am a licensed realtor. This is what I do full time. I love helping you guys out, moving from all over the place here to Tennessee. So hit me up in this contact information right here. I am the one answering these phone calls and emails. So I love helping you guys out. Contact me in any of the ways down below and let's do it. Reason number 2 people are moving from Florida to Tennessee is insurability and general cost of living. Guys, in Florida, insurance has jumped something like 400% or something like that. So it's becoming increasingly less affordable. The rising cost of insurance plus the amount of property tax that you guys are paying in Florida is kind of getting insane. The cost to live there is getting very, very expensive. The thing that's annoying about insurance too, it's like you're never gonna see that money back ever again. It's something you pay monthly and it kind of just disappears into thin air. Whereas your mortgage, when you're paying your principal and interest, even when the interest is a little bit high, you're still paying down your mortgage. You know that it's going somewhere. Insurance, you're really not gonna see that money back. So it's really annoying to pay very high premiums for insurance. Insurance aside, just general cost of living stuff like gas, healthcare, cost of food, groceries, that type of thing is more expensive in Florida as well. Tennessee is still among one of the cheaper states to live here in the United States. Now, when it comes to housing prices aren't increasing here in Tennessee. I think right now it's still a little bit more expensive in Florida. Tennessee is getting there because of the high demand that we're seeing. So that is something to consider. When you sell your house in Florida, don't expect to get much more in Tennessee, especially in the bigger cities like Nashville, Chattanooga, or Knoxville. When you get to the outskirts, it gets a little bit more rural, and typically you can find a little bit more house and land for your money. But again, although those housing costs are rising and becoming on par with other states and cities as well, your general cost of living is still cheaper. Your general cost of living and taxes and insurance is still quite a bit cheaper here in Tennessee. And piggybacking off of that, one of the reasons why insurance is rising so much in Florida is because of natural disasters. So comparing natural disasters between Florida and Tennessee, I think Florida takes the cake. And then piggybacking right off of that, a big reason why insurance is rising so much is because number 3, why Tennessee is better than Florida are natural disasters. Seems like everything out in Florida is out to kill you. And I'm gonna get to that in more detail for our last point, number 5, so stick around for that. But Florida just has more natural disasters. Every single season you have hurricane season, right? I remember almost 20 years ago at this point, 2005, Hurricane Charlie came through and absolutely ran through Southwest Florida. I know I'm aging myself right now, but I was a kid and I had to actually sleep at my mom's work because that was like the safest place to stay. And what happened was the hurricane came through, we went back to our house. 1, there was just tons of flooding everywhere. And then 2, the roof was absolutely blown off of our house. So hurricanes are just like a major inconvenience. 1, they're like a huge natural disaster, but it is a major inconvenience. The good thing about them is you get to prepare for them, but the disaster that hurricanes leaves, oh my goodness, it's crazy. We saw that, I mean, literally just last year with the hurricane that ran through Fort Myers. I still have a lot of friends that live in that area and the place was just absolutely destroyed. And unfortunately, with the insurance crisis, like a lot of these homes can't be insured anymore either. So anyways, that's just a huge issue in Florida and that a lot of people are experiencing, unfortunately. And that's a big reason why Tennessee takes the cake. We do have tornadoes here, but the tornadoes, like if we were to split the state in half, Chattanooga being sort of in the middle, anything west of Chattanooga and west of the Cumberland Mountains is going to be way more prone to tornadoes. Think Memphis and Nashville. Chattanooga still experiences tornadoes, but not nearly as often as Nashville and Memphis. We still absolutely can experience some crazy storm systems, some flooding in areas where there are creeks and rivers, but honestly, it's really not that bad. The last tornado that came through was back in 2020, and we haven't really seen anything since. And the reason why Chattanooga sometimes experiences tornadoes is because Chattanooga is the city kind of sits right in the valley between 2 major mountain ranges, the Cumberland Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains. So those storms kind of just get cornered into the valley, if that makes sense. And then obviously the mountains to the east and the mountains to the west, they break up those bigger storm systems. And diving a little bit deeper into weather, the number 1 thing, if you remember, why people are moving from Florida to Tennessee is because it's getting way too populated, way too crowded. And number 2, I always hear this, I can't stand the dang heat anymore. It's like it's 90 degrees all year round with 100% humidity. Guys, I understand it can get absolutely annoying. I know because I lived there. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, the heat is kind of similar to Florida heat. It's not as humid, but it still gets really, really hot and humid during the summers. However, because we have 4 seasons and we have a winter, it's a little bit more bearable, right? So we get extreme heat, what I would consider extreme heat, probably 2 to 3 months out of the year, and it's pretty pleasant throughout the rest of the year. For example, right now it is February 7th, so pretty much the middle of winter. January and February are like the coldest months in Tennessee, and it's like 60 degrees. It's sunny. It's beautiful out here. And when it comes to snow, sometimes we can enjoy snow days as well. So a couple weeks ago, it snowed about 2 inches here in Chattanooga. It was just fun enough for everything to close down, schools to shut down, people didn't have to go into work. So families could go outside and enjoy sledding, enjoy, building snowmen, small snowmen, and some snowball fights here and there. So it snows just enough for it not to be annoying and still enough for it to have fun. And if you are an outdoor person, you'll absolutely love it here because we have the mountains. It's not just the beach, it's not just flat. We have a lot more, I would say, character in Tennessee with the 2 mountain ranges, the Cumberland Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains, and all that it affords us, right? With, water activities, you got the streams, lakes, rivers, whitewater rafting, hiking, rock climbing, boating, going out and enjoying water sports on the lake. We just have a lot to offer when it comes to the outdoors, and you don't have sharks and alligators out to eat you. And that brings us to point number 5, and that is you're just less likely to die in Tennessee from being attacked by an animal. In Florida, you got sharks, you got alligators, you got rattlesnakes, you got all kinds of creatures who are out to kill you if you go and swim in the water. In Tennessee, we still have things that are out to kill you, but it's definitely not as much. So looking at this data, I was actually kind of surprised to see that Tennessee was not far behind Florida. Florida sits at number 3. Tennessee sits at number 5 for fatalities by animals. But it's a pretty significant difference where Florida has 257 fatalities, where Tennessee has 165. Just a little fun fact there. But a little bit of a recap. 2 to 3 years ago, Florida was a great place to move. You know, back when all of that stuff was happening back in 2020. It was a great place to move. It was very attractive, but you know, it's almost like when you hear a really good song and then they play it on the radio like 12 times over, and then they made a good thing bad and it's just annoying now. That's kind of what Florida is. You have too many people that moved there, and they moved there for reasons, or similar reasons why they kind of want to move to Tennessee now. The question is, will Tennessee become like Florida? I don't think so, because there is still so much room to grow. Again, when talking about population, Florida has about 3 times as many people as Tennessee. And Tennessee, you just have space everywhere. Like, for example, if you drive just 20 to 30 minutes outside of downtown Chattanooga, you're gonna be in pretty much the country. It gets very rural, very, very fast. And there's just so much more space to build and to grow. With that said, guys, again, I am a licensed realtor here in Tennessee. So if you are looking to move here from Florida or from anywhere around the world, feel free to contact me in any of the ways down below. I am the one answering the phone, answering the text messages, answering your emails, and I love helping you guys out with your real estate needs. So with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.